Folks, happy Sunday. We got a full house, but don't call Uncle Jesse. Have mercy on us all because AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Forbidden Door is here. I am Maniac. We are joined by Ernie Green, the resident professional Mike Parthum, our Slick Saturday professional Slick L, and brother in the middle here. We got not just your friend Jake Micah, but his friend, his brother, Alex Micah, joining us for this edition. How are we doing, gents, heading it into Forbidden Door Sunday?
Great.
Good.
Great. I'm excited. Feels like a Saturday, right? That's the energy we're on. We're on Saturday energy on Sunday. You can't beat that.
Excited,
Seriously.
Yeah.
You can't. Hey,
I'll tell you what, guys. If AEW was the NFL right now, this would be the body bag game because the injury list is piling up, but fortunately, that's why you have a stacked card.
Yeah.
And Maniac, when it
Or
comes
stacked
to
roster, I should say.
And Maniac, when it comes to Full House references, you need to cut it out.
Oh my gosh! How rude! All right, and when typically we start the show, we'll be like, "What's your favorite storyline?" I can't even do that right now because I gotta ask, what the hell is going on in wrestling? You can't even go 36 hours without a crazy injury, some potential new signing news, huge scandals left and right. I mean, not even just isolated to the top of WWE. So with that said, Ernie, why don't you kick us off? Let's go around the horn here. What do you see going on with wrestling? Where's your focus, and what are you thinking moving forward?
Well, the rated R version is Vince McMahon is finally getting his penance for sticking his dick in every female he can and trying to pay them off. That's the rated R version. And then AEW, I mean, they're putting on a lot of shows. They're gonna every like territory, federation, whatever organization, whatever you want to call it, they go through injury bugs. I mean, there was that time in WWE back in like the mid 2000s where like 5 champions in a row on SmackDown got injured, like 2 weeks after they won the championship. So it happens. It just happens to happen now when this great card is going to happen. But that's just a part of wrestling, The whole WWE situation with Vince might be unprecedented times. I've gone on the record, and I'm going to go on the record, and I'll stop talking after this and say that I've thought the entire time that Triple H and Stephanie have been in cahoots with Nick Khan to clean the company up because they're sick of Vince's shit also, given that Stephanie's a woman and they have 3 daughters, and Stephanie obviously is close to her mom and has always been. So I would not be surprised if after this is all said and done, the 3 of them run the company, and then that would be awesome because that'd be a great company with Triple H running the creative side. And all this selling stuff is going away because I think Vince wanted to sell to get ahead of the fact that he was going to get busted for this. So that's just my prediction.
Well, I'm not going to speculate on what the next episode of WWE Succession is going to be like, but I mean, Forbidden Door doesn't need storylines. It just needs, here's the best from one side and here's the best from the other side, and let's just see how they can do in the ring. In WWE, now that Cody Rhodes is gone, now that Roman's an absentee champion, I don't even know a storyline off the top of my head. Ronda Rousey's facing her old friend Natalya, and they're kind of going at it a little bit on the mic, and even on Twitter. But nothing in WWE is coming to mind anymore. And MJF's kind of cooled off ever since we haven't heard a peep from him or from Tony Khan about the subject. I feel like I don't know if there's a greater plan for MJF at this point other than just writing him off and letting him cool down and maybe settling things man-to-man between Tony and MJF. But the big storyline is going to be, Mox. I think I'm getting ahead of myself. I think Mox is going to win the title tonight. And who is he going to go up against, and when's the inevitable matchup with Punk going to happen?
Yeah, you're right, Parthum. Not much to go on in WWE. The biggest storyline to me in WWE is that Vince McMahon paid more for sex and to keep the women quiet than he did for WCW. Absolutely crazy. But personally, I'm really looking forward to the Fatal 4-Way, Hangman, Okada, Jay White, Adam Cole. We didn't really know how that was going to play out going into the Dynamite. Obviously, we're hoping Kenny the Cleaner was going to come out, but the coin drop is good enough for me. That's going to be an absolutely banger of a match. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to this whole card. It's wrestling history.
I don't know how you guys are saying nothing's happening on Raw when Ezekiel and Elias were on the same episode of Monday Night Raw this
He's
week.
got a point.
Kevin Owens he's losing his mind. So that's my favorite thing going on there. And then obviously this build is everything's been weird. There's been a lot of hiccups, stops and starts, whatever you want to say with this, but this card is still, I mean, I would sign up for it any day tonight. So really interested to see. But then AEW has to get back to like a month and a half until All Out, and then see where they're like actually going forward with this storylines. I'm assuming there's going to be some connectivity with New Japan and everything else, but not everything. And we haven't really seen a ton of like advancement in that way from Double or Nothing a couple weeks ago. And we have Blood and Guts on Wednesday, which that says it all right there.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of the theme right now. What Jake was saying, with Kevin Owens going crazy. I feel like that's just the general theme on WWE right now. Is everybody's going crazy? Kevin Owens is slowly going insane. Becky's going crazy. Sammy's always a little crazy, and Seth's been insane for a while now. So I think that's just what they're pushing. Just stable insanity while the company is, might fold around Vince. Who knows? With Forbidden Door, I don't know. I feel like this card didn't need any real build-up. It's fine for what it is. You have insane matches, and that's all they really need to be. You have dream matches taking place. So I didn't think they needed to build it any storyline. And then Blood and Guts is going to be the end of their big storyline. Blackpool.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, the end of Blackpool Combat Club and JAS, and then just build towards All Out. They have a couple things going. The Christian storyline that just started last 2 weeks, that's going to be great.
I was gonna say, but now that we have the news that Jungle Boy has joined the DL, that's almost on the back burner too.
Yeah.
Seriously, who would think that in 2022 Christian might be doing better in a storyline than Edge? Very interesting to see. With that said, it's just a very bad time for WWE. Not just for the fact that their lead champion with 2 belts is out, but Vince McMahon is under allegations that plain and simple are just heinous and inhumane. So there's not really a lot of reason to tune into WWE right now, and no reason to do so for their profit. Forbidden Door, it's here. And the funny thing to me is Forbidden Door is kind of like how WWE pitches Survivor Series. Like nobody really thinks it's the one time all year where you'll ever see like superstars go head to head. But Forbidden Door kind of is.
Well, the way WWE does Survivor Series, it's kind of like they book themselves into a corner. They do champion versus champion, and AEW and New Japan have done it very smartly where they've named number 1 contenders for the other guy's championship, and we'll see how crazy we get as far as holding another company's titles. But they're not doing title versus title or unifying any titles, or whether it's non-title matches or not. They're not booking themselves into a corner where one champion is going to be made to look weak. So they're doing a lot better than WWE Survivor Series usually does.
We are rolling along here on the Wrestling with Emotion show. Not wrestling with your budget, not wrestling with your thoughts. It's wrestling with emotion. Real quick, before we get into the 12 matches for tonight and that whole card for Forbidden Door, just want to ask you guys, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much pressure do you see on AEW New Japan with this event tonight? Is there pressure to get it done amongst the current landscape with such an opportunity to really vault the product in the American markets? Or is it kind of like low pressure because this is the first time they're doing something like this? There have been injuries. There have been shuffles at the last second. And just kind of pulling it off would be something, of an accomplishment. Let's start with the Majka Brothers. 1 to 10, 10 being the most amount of pressure on AEW and New Japan tonight.
I'd say it's like a 5 or a 6. I think it's because it's the first time they're doing a big show together that there's like a decent amount of pressure, but also, I don't know, they're running United Center, and it's supposed to be a sellout, and they're going to get a good amount of viewers for it. AEW's been getting a good amount of viewers for their product for the last couple of years, with the buy rates being really well. So I don't think it's too much pressure. I mean, the injuries suck, but that just happens. I don't think that's a pressure thing.
Yeah, we've seen some bad runs. Like Ernie mentioned earlier, too. I think we've seen bad runs of injuries in WWE in the past before, and every promotion always gets through it. So I think that definitely it adds the pressure. It takes pressure off in weird ways, whatever. But I think always getting to tonight was the easy part. Like once we get into the show and the show starts, the matches are all going to be good. The crowd's going to be hot and every match is going to start hot when these music hits for these people and everything else. Like it's going to be great tonight. And I do believe that this is really just the start of whatever they have plans going forward. If you guys didn't see over this week, there's now a New Japan show in Nashville on the day of SummerSlam, Music City Mayhem. That feels like a nice spot to kind of advance whatever storylines you got in Forbidden Door and throw some AEW wrestlers on the card. I don't say what time it is yet, but I would assume that they're doing it leading into what would be SummerSlam that night in Nashville. So I think this is just the start of the storylines, and I'm expecting to see some crazy shit happen that way, where we get some advances into that we weren't expecting out of these matches.
I'm totally with Mo. I'm going to rate it like a 5. I think it's a little bit of both. The fact that you're even doing this show to begin with, that's the spotlight. There's not a lot of pressure because you have these dream matches. AEW and New Japan both put on great product in terms of in-ring ability and what their superstars are capable of. Like I said, injuries just happen, but I think there's not a lot of pressure in one aspect because this show is just happening. This is, like I said, this is wrestling history. A lot of people complaining about the card, but it's still crazy, we're seeing stuff we potentially might have never seen going forward in the future if it weren't for this company. And knowing Tony Khan, hopefully we get this every year. So the fact that we're kicking this off tonight, I don't think there's a lot of pressure. I think there's just typical pressure on the wrestlers to go out and perform. But I have no doubt in my mind that these guys will do just that. And I think it's going to be a great show. So,
given the quality of the talent on both sides, I think we're going to have just match after match delivering tonight. And the fact that there's injuries, I think, lessens the pressure because it's not what everybody expected, but it's going to be good anyways. I put it in around a 5 or a 6. And I think they're planning for future shows. That certainly with the injuries, especially to Omega missing out on certain dream matches, they're both going to want to do at least another 1 or 2 shows.
This show doesn't have Kenny Omega, CM Punk, or Bryan Danielson on it. Like the match possibilities just with those 3 and any of this top talent that's on the New Japan side is endless.
I still think we see CM Punk tonight.
I do, yeah.
Sure.
There's no way you don't bring him out in the United Center.
Yeah, there really is.
He'll be out in some way. Yeah.
I think anytime that you put Jay White, Okada, and Tanahashi on a card in America, the pressure goes to 1. I'm actually way more positive about this. No one's. I mean, this isn't a show for storylines. I mean, they might advance the storyline here or there, but this is basically like a middle of the. It's like a mid-season tournament in soccer or something. Basically, They're not really advancing a lot of storylines. Like, hey, listen, there's a bunch of great wrestlers. We're going to put a bunch of great matches. And even though there are guys injured, there's still a ton of talent on this card. Unless all of them forget how to wrestle between now and then, I don't see how this can't be a successful show. So I'd say there's going to be little to no pressure because just the fact that this show is happening, I think most people will be happy at the end of the day.
100%.
All right. Hopefully we all will be happy at the end of the day as we get into AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door breakdowns, and we get in with a banger of a match. We got QT Marshall and Aaron Solo versus Haruki Goto and Yoshihashi. I mean, I don't even know anything, and it's just gonna be. It's gonna be Goto and Hashi. Majka Bros, take it from here.
Yeah. This is the definition of a dream match. What are you talking about? For years, we've been waiting for QT Marshall and Yoshihashi. I mean, it's going to be amazing. No, Goto and Yoshihashi. Yep. QT does a lot of stuff for New Japan Strong, so it makes sense why he's on the card. They respect him for that, I guess. So
I feel like him and Gato are just buddies, like the New Japan booker, and he just gets put on all. And it's a good spot for Aaron Solo too, who's still a young guy. Get under his wings and everything. But Goto, Yoshihashi.
Yeah,
I can't imagine this starts tonight.
I know, right? This wild. I can't say that I knew this match was happening until now, but that's all right. QT Marshall's really good at putting people over, so that's just about all I have to say. I think I got to go with Gatu and Hashi here too. Add a little bit of depth to the card. People are complaining, I guess. Let's go buy-in match. I'm not sure if there's any other buy-in matches. I'm I'll find out, I guess. But
There's 2 more.
Yeah,
There's 3 buy-ins total. Yeah.
sweet. I missed Rampage on Friday. So
Slick is literally getting swerved in the show hasn't even started.
I'm getting work for sure. Yeah. Goto and Hashi though.
Literally knowing nothing about Goto and Hashi, I mean, QT Marshall is basically AEW's cannon fodder. So Hashi and Goto.
He is New
Simple
Japan.
as that.
Oh, come on, guys. To quote the late, great Gorilla Monsoon, this could be a main event anywhere in the country. No, I mean, there's nothing else to say about Goto and Hashi.
Okay. Oh, hey, enough said. Okay, and let's move it on. Speaking of swerves, we got Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland versus El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru, a.k.a. Suzuki Gun.
Yes.
Okay. On this one, Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland do have some momentum. I'll kick it off here, and I will go with them to get the win in this buy-in match. Ernie, let's go with you, and then around the horn, who you got?
You know what? I think that El Desperado and how do you say it? Kanemaru? Yeah, right. Kanemaru.
Yeah.
I think they're going to win because they're going to. I think this is one of the things where they're going to further the breakup between Swerve and Keith Lee. So I think that's why they're going to. I think that's why they're going to win.
I think we're not going to get the breakup just quite yet. I think there's going to be some tension. There's going to be some awkwardness, like in the last couple of tag matches that Swerve and Lee have been in. I don't think we're going to get that divide until we get that rematch with Team Taz. Kind of like we don't get the breakup of Jurassic Express and Christian Cage until they lose the tag titles. So we'll definitely see a little bit of that, can they coexist vibe tonight. But I think Swerve and Keith Lee are going to pick up the win.
Yeah, this one's tough. Because I agree with both of you. I definitely think they're gonna build a little bit of a storyline between Keith Lee and Strickland here, a little bit of tension. So, ultimately, I'm gonna go with them to get the win. I think there's gonna be some interesting spots, some things that make it look close where they almost blow the match. But I'm gonna go with them. I think you got a little bit of time, and you could still keep building this tension between the two. And I think now that they've seemed to work things out, they still squeeze out a win here tonight.
I'm going with El Desperado and Kanemaru. I think that you guys mentioned the Starks and Hobbs. I think that's where they pop up on this show, mess with Swerve and Lee a little bit. They start arguing in the ring afterwards, start shoving each other. They'll maybe big old chop on Keith Lee's chest, something like that. I'd love to see some kind of like argument after the ring. I feel like they can still be a tag team where AEW's kind of set this up with the Combat Club. That's a whole different story. But like maybe they could fight and then like be a tag team afterwards. Like maybe Keith Lee just needs to beat up Swerve for like 10 minutes and then he'll feel better about it. Like that's where we're getting to or something. But yeah, give me the New Japan guys in this one.
I'm going Keith Lee and Swerve. I love El Desperado. He's awesome. Kanemaru, he's a solid like tag team guy. But neither one of them is gonna pick up a pin over Keith Lee or Swerve. I feel like so that's just the biggest thing out of that. So I'm going Keith and Swerve for that. Some dissension between the two, but
very fair. Yes, I think we're all expecting a little conflict between the two on that side, but yes, eventually going to get it done. Okay, so we're kind of split on that one, but we'll see how it goes and breaks down. To me, we're now at the main event of the buy-in. We got the Gun Club and Max Caster versus the Dojo Squad, the DKC, Kevin Knight, Alex Coughlin, Yuya Uemura. With that said, I think that, I feel bad for the Gun Club and Max Caster for having to be on like a pre-show of this, but at least they're on the show. And yeah, they've been a crazy hot act in AEW for the last couple months, kind of boiling over now to TV. So with that said, Majka Bros, why don't you start us off? Who you got? Gun Club versus the Dojo Dynamics.
I'm going Gun Club and Max Caster. I wish Bowens was on this card so bad. I love the Acclaim. I wish they were the tag team champions right now, and I think they would be if he wasn't injured. Yeah, I mean they're gonna run through the dojo. The dojo guys always lose. They're still learning. They're not gonna get a win over. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a fun match though. Those LA dojo guys are good, but it'll be a fun match. But I'm going Gun Club and Max Caster.
Gun Club, and I can't wait to hear what cities that Colton Gunn and Austin Gunn think we're in tonight.
Yeah, I'm also going Gun Club. You always have them losing, it seems like, lately, with Bowens being out, except if it's on Dark. I can't wait to hear Max Caster rap, per usual, and the Ass Boys. I think they're a great tag team. I think they really do have a lot of potential, still young, and I agree with Mo, too. I absolutely love the Acclaimed. I think they get a big win here over the Dojo guys.
Milwaukee! Notre Dame!
I'm assuming Tokyo, something like that.
No, but seriously, these guys are more over than most tag teams in AEW, so scissor me, daddy ass.
FCC, line 1. I'll make it quick. Gun Club, they're going to win.
Scissor me daddy ass is kind of like in a hidden area where like Skeet was in the early 2000s, where like the FCC really doesn't know. And we got it going on. All right, well, speaking of not knowing, let's move in to our main card matches here for AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door. Now, I thought that this was going to be a Jericho Appreciation Society match, but I guess we had a last-minute team name change. Le Sex Gods, the team of Jericho, Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki. Take Eddie Kingston, and Wheeler. I mean, how Minoru Suzuki is a sex god?
Listen, bro.
What are you talking about?
I don't know if I want to know, honestly. I mean, I might just have to just give that to him and not ask questions. But it just wouldn't be. I mean, I love Suzuki ever since he started these AEW feuds with like Moxley, and they fought like 38 straight times. I just love him. With that said, oh, by the way, I'm on the Gun Club as well. I'm sorry about that. For this match, I got Le Sex Gods taking it down. I think that, obviously the other side does have a lot of momentum, and they'll be able to continue that. You got to get Jericho and Guevara a win in this spot to me. So I'm going to take Le Sex Gods to take this one down. Ernie, what do you got happening?
Even if I didn't think they're going to win, and I think they're going to win, I mean, you can't bet against the Sex Gods. So even if I take that loss, I'm going to take it. So I'm going for Le Sex Gods.
I felt for this once thinking, okay, Blackpool Complex Club are just killers. They're going to just run all over these sports entertainers. But it's all about payoffs, and the payoff is blood and guts. So we're not going to quite get Eddie Kingston getting his full revenge on Chris Jericho just yet. So I'm going with Jericho, Suzuki, and Sammy. I'm not calling sex gods. But I could see Minoru Suzuki being a sex god the way he doles out those slaps. Maybe he's into BDSM. I don't know.
Oh, jeez.
How are you going to follow that, Slick? Come on.
I'm going to go for points here. I'm going to go with Kingston, Umunu, and Yuta. I think Yuta being a big player in New Japan and AEW, and they're really pushing him, trying to get him over right now. I think Yuta maybe gets a pin over Sammy here, really make the crowd pop, given that Sammy just gained even more hate somehow in joining the JAS. But I think that was a good move booking-wise. Given you don't have all the main players here, I think it's a great spot to elevate Yuta. So, like I said, Yuta gets a pin over Sammy or something, and him, Kingston, and Umunu win.
I'm so excited to see how annoying Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho are about to be for like the next 4 months or however long. It's going to be great. I think that Le Sex Gods, they get the win here. Like you said, Mike, the payoff is blood and guts. They're going to get destroyed there by BCC. Shota Umino, how do we say that here? Umino, the son of a legendary referee who better be there tonight. Red Shoes, New Japan referee. I hope Red Shoes out IWGP title match probably.
I would think so.
Someone will have beef with Red Shoes tonight, and he won't take their shit.
It might be this match.
It could be this match.
It might be. He might do this match because
him and Jericho.
Yeah.
Jericho has he's the only reason I know about Red Shoes. To be honest. So now that you're saying
it might be this match,
and that's his son. And also,
there's almost no way that Red Shoes isn't involved.
Is Moxley's adopted son in New Japan lore as well. So I think he takes the pin, angers John Moxley for Blood and Guts on Wednesday.
I'm going with Le Sex Gods. They're gonna pick it up. Especially because this was snuck in, I think, on Rampage, is that whoever wins this match has the advantage in Blood and Guts. They get the extra man in first. So I think that's a heel thing to have. So I'm going Jericho, Suzuki, and Guevara.
I agree. Tough to pull a face and get an angle with that. Yeah, I will go Les Sex Gods as well. So everyone on Les Sex Gods except for Slick, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Going for points.
Prove us
Might-
wrong, you know.
Might bite me in the ass, but
Well, hey, we all know Slick is a dude with an attitude, so let's bring him in here. Dudes with attitude, Sting, Darby Allin, Shingo Takagi versus the Bullet Club, the Young Bucks and El Phantasmo with Hikuleo. Very interesting year. I'm not sure what to exactly expect. Obviously, they've made a specialty of having Sting in these multi-man, tag matches, especially these trio matches, because it can kind of hide the fact that he's basically 70 years old, which is incredible. When I see him going through tables and everything, it's just unbelievable. But with that said, I'm expecting this match. I think it's kind of under the radar as of now, even featuring Darby Allin and Sting and the Young Bucks. So I'm expecting it to be kind of one that tears the roof off the place. I will take the Bullet Club to get a win at the first Forbidden Door. Dudes with attitudes can take the loss, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with the Bullet Club. Majka Bros, where are you at on Dudes with Attitudes versus BC?
It's going to be the Bullet Club, Bucks and El Phantasmo. This match is just really randomly put together as for who it is. Sting and Darby, it makes sense. Shingo with them doesn't make any sense really. I'm happy he's on the card. He's an amazing wrestler, but
He's gonna have some crazy spots with the Bucks.
yeah, him and the Bucks will be great. But yeah, Bullet Club's gonna win. Bucks get the win over the team that just was thrown together. I feel like so.
Yeah, the AEW loves having Darby Allin get pinned in big matches, so I feel like that's what's going to happen here. Hey, give me the Bullet Club.
Yeah, I don't think you can have Forbidden Door without a Bullet Club win and just a crazy match in general. Bucks just winning the tag titles kind of solidifies it for me. And what kind of name is Dudes with Attitudes for two dudes like Sting and Darby?
It was a group that Sting was in, right? In the 90s or 80s or something?
I'm gonna go over that, Jake. Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Shingo Takagi also something I want to mention. Shingo Takagi on Twitter the other day, it was hilarious. When this match got announced, he's like, I didn't know the card until right now. So man had no idea he was wrestling or who he was wrestling.
So he's basically like TV. Slick L inside Forbidden Door.
Yeah, fair enough. Bullet Club.
Yeah, they told us it's all about Bullet Club. And to your point, Slick, I was about to make they just put the tag titles on the Bucks, and they got to keep them hot. And Darby, yes, is the kind of guy that can take a pin and not either be totally hurt by it or really even care. He's just out there just throwing himself against people, trying to, escape his past demons that way or something, I guess. Yeah, give me the Bullet Club for life.
The original Dudes with Attitudes were great because they were formed to combat the Four Horsemen because they were interfering in everybody's matches. And they carried these cards, business cards, and it was so stupid and cheesy. I remember it was definitely Sting, Luger, the Steiner brothers, Paul Orndorff, Junkyard Dog, and maybe Elegante. Elegante might have been after the fact, but that was the Dudes with Attitudes, which was hilarious because they had twice the members of the Horsemen, which kind of made them more of a heel gang in theory than a face gang. But yeah, and then Shawn Michaels and Diesel called themselves that also in the mid-'90s when they fought Owen and Bulldog for the tag team titles. Anyway, Bullet Club.
I'm looking up Dudes with Attitudes right now. They were a one-off, too. They literally just did it to battle the Four Horsemen once. What craziness. So we got a Bullet Club with a clean sweep, it looks like, of this match. So not completely surprising, but we'll be interested to see. I think the common sentiment is that Darby tends to win more off moments than actual results.
Mm-hmm.
Do you just have something, Micah? Sorry.
No, I was just too sweeting.
Okay, too sweet. Very fair. Very fair. And speaking of too sweeting, something that AEW fans have wanted for a little while, whether the execution was exactly how we wanted it or not, is up to you ultimately. Where is it here? Oops. Do we have the Atlantic Championship?
Oh, yeah.
Could be.
The coveted, long-awaited Atlantic Championship.
Oh, yes,
Atlantic
sorry.
Pacific
Bad reading.
Indian Ocean Championship.
Versus Miro with his very flexible wife, which I think is actually a real-life shtick now. Malachi Black and Clark Connors, Clark Connors, good luck, for the AEW All Atlantic Championship. let me throw this one to Ernie. Ernie, what do you got for this fatal four-way match for the AEW, the new belt, the new strap coming to AEW?
I'm going with Miro. I think they've really given a nice little push since he came back, and it's not like he wasn't getting pushed to begin with. There was extenuating circumstances beyond their control. So I think that Clark Connors is there literally just to take the pin from whoever's going to win the title. And I think they're really going to reestablish Miro because they were establishing him before everything went down with his personal life. So I'm going Miro.
Yeah. Malachi Black and Pac would be worthy candidates to hold the title. Like, you could arguably say they should be in line for a TNT title, like 5 or 6 other guys in the company. But with Miro coming back and him having the vignettes and having a lot of momentum and a lot of hype behind him, I think you got to go with Miro.
Yeah, part of me wants Pac to get shine here and get the spot, get the inaugural All Atlantic title, but I think somehow maybe Julia Hart plays into this again, screws over Pac, maybe furthers Malachi and Pac. So I'm going to go with Miro, although I think any guy but Clark Connors would be great for this first belt strapped around him, but ultimately I'm going to go with Miro.
All I know about Clark Connors is he's wearing a cowboy hat and he's big. So, and it's kind of athletic, kind of. I'm going with Pac because when this match, the first match on this was during Pac's match, they just sold that AEW is the #1 promotion in the UK, and Excalibur said it like 35 times. So I'm giving it to. I think Pac is going to be the winner. I think that was the foreshadower.
Yeah, I'm going with Pac too. I know who Clark Connors is a little bit more though. I've seen him wrestle.
Does he wear a cowboy hat?
He does wear a cowboy hat. He's good, and his match with Ishii, like the setup that he lost actually to go into this match, and then Ishii got hurt. But he's a good wrestler. He'll be a good part of this match. He probably will take the pin, but I'm gonna go with Pac. I think it's due for him to win something. I mean, there's like middle feuds, he's kind of been having success, but he hasn't had a title yet. I think this is his time to be the first champ.
Okay, so we got the Majka Bros on Pac. Got everybody else on Miro. I'm going to go on Miro. I like the push they're giving him. I think they like him as a champion. I probably shouldn't have given away that I didn't think it was going to be Clark Connors. Probably should do a little better job with my poker face on the next one. But speaking of poker face and selling, we got Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm for the AEW Women's Championship. Primary storyline I feel like going into this one is the back stage heat on Thunder Rosa, if that makes sense. Yeah, obviously it's going to be on her to perform big tonight, I would say. If she wants to both shut up those haters and work on establishing this women's championship legacy. I don't see them taking the title off of her because they need to establish these stars in AEW on the women's side especially. And I think if they cut the reign short right now, even though that does make a new champion, it kind of devalues her reign. So I'll take Thunder Rosa in this matchup, and I'm thinking that maybe it'll be a bounce back match for as a professional. So we'll see. Majka Bros, what do you got in this one?
I get what you're saying about Thunder Rosa, and it makes sense not to take it off of her, but I'm still just gonna go with Toni Storm. I think Thunder Rosa, she just wasn't ready for the title. I think it's just been a middling run. It's had a couple good matches, like her and Serena Deeb was good, but I think like on the mic she's not ready. I don't think she's like fully TV ready, and I think that Toni Storm is, and I'd much rather see Toni Storm as a champ. So I'm gonna go with Toni Storm.
I'm also going with Toni Storm because I think that they're starting a feud here where I think Thunder Rosa leans into all that heat and everything, and we get a heel turn Thunder Rosa after the match of some sort.
That would probably be good for her character.
And I think giving her some attitude, give her something else, and then maybe she wins it back. Maybe they pass it back. They haven't been afraid to hot potato a title around a little bit, and maybe that gives us something hot for the summer, because I don't know where else you would go if Toni Storm won it, and it just feels like that's a good spot for this.
Yeah, I agree with Maniac. I don't know. I think it devalues her run a bit if you take it off her, but that being said, I'm going with Toni Storm. I think now is her time. She'd make a great women's champion, and hopefully we get her and a certain ex-WWE star for that title down the line. So I'm gonna go with Toni Storm.
Jeez, Toni Storm will be a good AEW Women's Champion at some point, but not quite yet. They don't put the belts on people that just got here. They didn't put it on Ruby Soho, even though she arrived with all of the fanfare. No, you got to go with Thunder Rosa. She did just have a great match with Serena Deeb. She's only getting started. And I think she can be great on the mic if she's given enough time to breathe instead of, having it interrupted by, Nyla Rose or whoever comes backstage interrupting Tony Schiavone. I do like the fact that you have Toni Storm, who was a former Stardom champion, and Thunder Rosa herself was formerly with Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
So that gives a little bit of a Forbidden Door aspect, even though they're both with AEW and whatnot. And some people are complaining, well, this match was kind of, pushed onto the pay-per-view just to get a women's match. I want a women's match on a pay-per-view, regardless of what the pay-per-view is meant to be. So I think Thunder Rosa is going to retain.
I agree. Every title change so far in AEW has been a slow burn and not a hot shot. And I think this
Except for the TNT title.
Oh yeah, that's kind of, they kind of had no choice there, didn't they? At the time? But yeah, that was more of a necessity. But they don't really hot shot a lot of things that they don't have to, and they're not going to hot shot this. I think they really want to establish Thunder Rosa as a champion, so that whoever beats her, it makes it even more worthwhile. Toni Storm is a very worthy AEW Women's Champion. I just don't think it's going to happen tonight.
Okay, so we are our panel split there, 3-3. I think that might be one of the first ones where it's an even split amongst us. So it'll be very interesting to see what
separation.
Happens. Yeah, I agree. We need a little conflict there. Breaking it on. So we got. I was looking for this match and I almost didn't see it because the original thing I saw was so long. We have FTR versus Jeff Cobb and Great-O-Khan versus Roppongi Vice for a winner-take-all Ring of Honor IWGP tag titles. This is a big opportunity for FTR to kind of go out and prove, what they've talked about for the last couple of years. They really haven't had a super dominant run in AEW would be my take. So with that said, I will tee it up here, and I will lead off with FTR in this match. Ernie, who do you got taking on this three-way winner-take-all tag team match?
I agree 100% with you. I'm going to go FTR. I think this is going to be their moment to shine, at least, in this case.
I'm going to go FTR. I mean, they're going to turn them into the next belt collectors, I think. If there's anybody that you would trust another promotion's team with your titles, it would be FTR and AEW.
Yeah, there's no reason why FTR should not win this match. I think they're the best tag team in the world right now. And you give them all the gold, maybe set up for a potential match with the Bucks at All Out. Give me FTR, strap all the belts on them.
That is exactly what I was thinking as well. I think FTR, obvious choice here. But I did want to mention, we were talking about Lay Sex Gods earlier. If you guys want to go see something funny while we're here, do some homework, go to Instagram and check out Great-O-Khan's last post. And that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. But there is a reason there's a correlation in there. So Great-O-Khan, very interesting character. Him and Cobb are going to put out a thing. I've thought about maybe, like, the only thing I'm worried about with FTR is that the AAA guys couldn't show up on the show tonight. So how would they feel about FTR holding both the IWGP and AAA? Oh, no, wait. Wasn't it CMLL? I don't know.
Well,
so,
no.
Because
so
CMLL is the company, Mexican company you can work with with New Japan and the IWGP titles. That's my only
and FTR is the
concern.
AAA champs, and those AAA guys aren't allowed on here.
So that is my only slight concern, but I still think that you wouldn't put them in this match if they were going to lose the ROH title. So
FTR is not winning. It's from Roppongi Vice all the way.
See,
I have full faith in Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero. They're getting the IWGP tag titles. They're going to come back after junior titles like 3 times. They got the heavyweight titles. They're getting them. And they deserve the ROH titles. They would have beat FTR if Jeff Cobb and Great-O-Khan didn't interfere. I'm going Roppongi Vice.
The only way that's going to happen is if they pin United Empire. I don't see.
FTR I don't think FTR is taking the pin, but
I don't know. I'm hearing a lot of emotional bias in that Roppongi Vice.
Well,
kind of reminds me of my elite hunter, Frankie Kazarian, when I talk about it. But yeah, I like the passion. I like the pick. I like that we're not all on the same one. So yes, Alex Mike did go on Roppongi Vice. Everybody else on FTR. By the way, for more Wrestling with Emotion content, make sure you're following because we're going basically every other week now. Make sure you're following along on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Twitter, everywhere. We'll be rocking with these AEW, WWE, Impact Wrestling World updates. And speaking of Wrestling World updates, who could it be? Zack Sabre Jr. versus CLAUDIO?
Yep.
But yes, this should be very exciting. We got a hand-picked opponent from Daniel Bryan, right? Is the promotion for this opponent to be a new member of the Blackpool Combat. Almost guaranteed to be Claudio, unless I'm literally living in another universe.
No, I can't see it being anybody. You want fun fact about Cesaro Claudio? He was in William Regal's last match ever in NXT. That was his opponent. Was Cesaro. I feel like that's the perfect tie-in right there.
I had no clue. Like, so when I'm watching that episode of Talking Smack, when Daniel Bryan was on there with Renee Young, and he's like, Claudio! Like, and now I realize, like, someone and Vince were probably literally screaming through their brain when he did that. So now I'm just getting so excited. But with that said, in this match, why don't I let the Majka Bros cue it up then? What do you got happening? Zack Sabre Jr. versus the newest member of Blackpool Combat Club.
So I think whoever it is the newest member, I think they lose. If it ends up being Claudio, or it's always possible Johnny Organo. He's been rumored to show up.
Here.
He's in Chicago
He's
today.
in Chicago.
Yeah. He's been rumored to show up for.
And then he did a post saying, like, I'm not going to do this. And he said, but also, if I was going to do it, there would probably be a post just like this saying.
Yeah. So I think whoever it is they're going to lose Zack Sabre Jr. because I think Zack Sabre Jr. is just a big enough guy in New Japan that I think he'll pick up that win. I think it'll be a great match. It makes a lot of sense if it's Claudio, and he fits like the whole vibe of Blackpool Combat Club. But Zack Sabre Jr. wins, whoever it is.
No, I'm picking Claudio. I'm picking Claudio, and I can't wait to see Zack Sabre Jr. getting swung around like 30 times. That crowd is going to go absolutely berserk. Yeah, Claudio Casanoli, whatever his name is going to be in AEW, yes, those uppercuts, everything, is going to put on just banger after banger after banger of a match. Like a dude, if there was somebody that needed to be unleashed from the WWE style, it is Claudio.
Yes.
So I'm so excited to see what they do tonight with Zack Sabre Jr. Or if it's him. Whoever it is, I'm going Combat Club though.
Yeah, it's going to be Claudio, and the BCC is the perfect faction to shove him into. Absolute brute, fits the style perfectly. Can't wait to see Sabre Jr. getting swung around, like you said, Jake. I think Claudio comes in and picks up the win in dominant fashion. I think it's going to be a great match, though. And the technical style, it's Danielson's perfect replacement for the match. So give me Claudio coming in and picking up the win.
So Omega I think today in SI basically said there's 0% chance it's him. But we won't be disappointed by Bryan Danielson's hand-picked person. Gargano, of course, said, like you just said, came out and said it's not him. Who's the one guy that hasn't come out and said it's not him? So, yeah, Claudio fits with Bryan. He's someone that Bryan would respect, someone that Regal would respect, and someone that Eddie Kingston hates his guts, too. So it's just the perfect, little fit-in into the Blackpool Combat Club with Eddie and Proud and Powerful. So there's going to be a nice little dynamic of are they going to be busy fighting each other or fighting the JAS once we get to Blood and Guts? And the match is going to be a banger, so it's Cesaro, and he's going to win. Claudio.
I am picking the newest member of Blackpool Combat Club, whoever that is. If it is Claudio, Zack Sabre Jr. weighs like 140 pounds, but he can swing him. He could swing him like 300 times if he wants, not 30. So I'm actually interested in seeing how long he'd swing him for if it is Claudio. But whoever it is, a much ballyhooed mystery opponent. And I never use that word either. I don't know what's wrong with me today. What the fuck? But whoever it is, they're going to beat Zack Sabre Jr. And I'm a huge Zack Sabre Jr. fan, by the way.
Same.
Minor debate here.
You hate Zack. I did that shit. No, I love Zack Sabre Jr. He's always hated him. He thinks he's boring. But
I get, yeah.
He's great.
I like it. A little brother battle. With that said, and I'm thinking back, and because just we're talking about Claudio real quick before we get into the final three matches here of Forbidden Door, was Cesaro's biggest moment in WWE, and I'm not going to say it's the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal because they just literally don't care about that like a day after WrestleMania ends. Was it when they had him be the surprise fourth entrant in the number one contender match 6 years ago? on the Raw after WrestleMania?
Oh, yeah, yes, I was there, and the crowd
That
absolutely
pop
lost
was
its shit.
massive, Ernie.
I was
Versus
there.
Cesaro.
I was a poppy.
No, AJ won
I
that
guess
match.
you'd say. Yes, the crowd
AJ
went
Styles
nuts.
did win that match and had a couple classic matches with Reigns. Totally.
Who
But
did
my goodness,
Cesaro
that
beat?
had to be his number one moment in WWE, right?
Who did Cesaro beat at Mania last year? Rollins, right?
Yeah,
That's
they-
singles match at
But
Mania.
the thing but wasn't that was WrestleMania Thunderdome, wasn't it?
No, I think
No,
that was
that-
No,
was
it was
Tampa.
it was
That
a
was
half.
Tampa?
It was 2021. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Okay,
was
yeah.
WrestleMania ring delay.
Okay, so I forgot
Yeah.
a little bit about
So
that.
I got to
Samoa
go with that
Joe.
because that was when they put him on a little bit of a singles run. Actually, didn't he get a match against Roman too for the title after that?
Either after or
Ooh,
before that.
that's a good
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
got to be it. A win
Okay.
over Seth at Mania, and then he got a title match. I think last year actually was to give him a little push. That was his high.
So I don't understand how he it had to have been of his own accord as much as anything. But couldn't you just see Cesaro on being Sami Zayn right now or doing something like that?
Yeah.
Like just
And he'd be a more credible threat than Sami Zayn. So,
Yeah.
so-
They never really trusted Cesaro on the mic.
no,
Like
No.
never.
crazy to
that's
say,
with,
right?
that's with
Like,
all
it-
Europeans. Yeah,
Yeah.
all those
it
European
sucks.
guys. They don't.
I
trust
don't
them.
know. Like I think
I
when
missed
like
the bar.
Nakamura or like Asuka like cut their like, and I say it because they're just not fully fluent in English. Like they're kind of jumbled promos. It's actually like funny and like more significant to me.
You know,
Like because the
Asuka-
things they're saying.
Asuka has main evented like the last 6 of the 7 Raws that have gone on, like with her matches with Becky and everybody else. Like Asuka has, I think it was the last 6 of 7 Raws. Asuka has been in the main event. That's a crazy push after coming back from injury.
It is absolutely. Well, hey, good to see they know what they have.
Yeah.
Speaking of knowing what you have, we have 3 bangers left for matches. These will probably be the trail 3, unless we get like some sex gods or some other dudes with attitudes. Craziness. But let's go into it first for the IWGP United States title. Some real life. I mean, you know, it feels like it's outside of the promotion. Some beef with these two. We have Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy. We got new theme music for Orange Cassidy. If you didn't hear that, go check it out. Obviously, for sure, or don't, and just be excited when it comes out. But we got Ospreay versus Cassidy. Ernie, who do you got in this matchup for the IWGP US title?
Gee,
Will
I wonder.
Ospreay, 1,000,000%. There are so many great professional wrestlers in AEW, and why they're using Orange Cassidy in this match is beyond me. Orange Cassidy is okay. I mean, he's okay, but they have so many great I understand some of them are injured, so I get the card change, but they have a ton of great professional wrestlers to match Will Ospreay with, and if I was Will Ospreay, I too would be upset to have to waste my time with Orange Cassidy. He's an okay gimmick and he can wrestle, but it's like this to me makes absolutely no sense. And I know I'm in the minority here, and that's fine. You guys are all going to slander me after this, and I'm okay with that. But I am 0% interested in this match. Will Ospreay is going to win, and I think it sucks that they're wasting one of the greatest professional wrestlers in the world, if not the greatest professional wrestler in the world, on just an okay gimmick.
Well, remember, it's not just injuries, it's politics, because CMLL is keeping Andrade and a couple other guys out of the fold. Andrade was supposed to be the guy facing Will Ospreay. Injuries notwithstanding to the other top guys that we've mentioned before. Orange Cassidy, people should not sleep on Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy will surprise you just because he puts his hands in his pockets and does backflips and kicks that way to start off the match. Doesn't mean he doesn't get into it later on. He can get intense, not just with his wrestling, but you can see it on his face. Once you hit him a few times, he'll start getting angry, and his character will start to hit back. Of course, Will Ospreay is going to retain the title, but Orange Cassidy is going to surprise a lot of people that don't quite respect his wrestling abilities. No names mentioned here.
Yeah, Will Ospreay is going to win this match. I've been so impressed with his matches in AEW thus far. I can't wait to see how he sells some of these Orange Cassidy moves. In my opinion, he's one of the best sellers of moves there is in wrestling. For some reason, that makes me want to see Danhausen come out and curse Ospreay just to see the reaction and what would happen. But I really don't know what to expect, but I'm looking forward to this match a lot. I think it's going to be a banger, but I got Ospreay retaining and winning in spectacular fashion, actually. I agree, Ernie. I think he's one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Well, Slick, you mentioned selling Orange Cassidy's moves. How well do you think he's going to sell the Kicks of Doom there?
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, he sells everything great. I can't wait to see this.
It's gonna be great. It's Will Ospreay for me too. I think there's a couple interesting things around Ospreay right now. Is that Kenny interview that we were referencing earlier, where he kind of came after Ospreay, saying that he like has like empty 5-star matches, basically like doesn't. And I think
he tried to.
He did go back on it a little bit and everything. Whatever.
He was trying to balance the criticism and the praise.
Kenny is one of the most cerebral people in the wrestling business I've ever studied, like in history. I think he's doing that on purpose to needle Ospreay a little bit. And I'm anticipating Ospreay coming in here and looking at this card and wanting to be the guy that has the match that everybody walks away with. I think him and Orange can figure out a dynamic that it will be tough to beat. But Will Ospreay wins because of that, and also Juice Robinson is actually the IWGP US champion. He actually has the belt. We might not see it even tonight because he's holding it hostage in a hospital room allegedly somewhere and saying that Will is an illegitimate champion. So that's a whole storyline. Maybe that is a surprise in this match as well, is a surprise Juice Robinson appearance. I don't know if he's okay yet or not. But
Juice.
He had an appendicitis.
It was there all along.
Wow.
Yeah.
Barbershop in Skokie, Illinois.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing in this match too, is that there's an ongoing storyline with Juice and Ospreay that needs to take place. If Juice is healthy enough and shows up, could see it. Yeah, I don't know.
Orange Juice.
Just
oh my
stopping
gosh.
him. I don't know. I'm going Ospreay. I think he's the bigger talent. I think the match is gonna be awesome though. I think the first time I ever saw Orange Cassidy, he did a backflip off a ladder with his hands in his pockets, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" And I was like, "This is I gotta pay attention to this." It was on some like GCW show, but I was like, "Gotta pay attention to this guy."
That's nuts.
Ospreay versus everyone's on Ospreay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm taking Orange then. Too good of a chance to get a point. I'll be taking Cassie. I mean, it feels like a toss to me. I get it, and I like it, but I like the opportunity to get a point more than anything. And speaking of liking something more than anything, that scumbag Jay White. He's got the IWGP World Heavyweight title. He's spitting fire on social media. We got him versus Hangman Page versus Okada versus Cole. I mean, with all due respect to Mox and Tanahashi, this is like the main, right?
Dude, when I was talking about it, just the entrances alone for this match, that crowd is going to be so crazy afterwards. Like all these hit like in a different way. Like that, it's just going to be a nutty atmosphere. Like I'm sure they're going to all be standing there. They'll do it. Wait a second, let the crowd build up at the beginning. Everything. Like I feel like that match more than any tonight, or this one I should say, is like that. You go ahead.
Yeah, it's I don't know, like we said it before, like actually like dream match. This is like a game like in a video game. Like you put this match together because you want to see these four guys in a ring together. It's going to be incredible. Did you do your pick?
Yeah, like 2 years ago, right? Like putting these names together would have been absolute internet lunacy with like no justification whatsoever. And here it is. We're just about 7 hours from it happening. So let's bring in. I know the Majka brothers are salivating to get on this one, so I'm gonna make them wait. Let's start out with Ernie. Who do we got in this 4-way for the IWGP World Heavyweight title?
I'll just tell a really quick story. I remember meeting one of the what's it called, Frightful or whatever guys on the train back from WrestleMania, and I said with no I said in 3 years, I said this in 2019, I think in 3 years Jay White might be one of the top 5 wrestlers in the world, and I was right. I'm never right, you guys know that, so I just wanted to brag, humble brag for 1 second. I'm interested in seeing how this match is going to play out, because this isn't, not that a lot of people have experience in this, but there's not a lot of, nobody really here has experience in Fatal 4-Way. It's not really much of a thing in New Japan Pro. It's not really a thing in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I'm interested, not really AEW either. So it's mostly a WWE gimmick thing, which they screw up every time, but I digress. I'm really interested in seeing how they construct this match in general, because there's four just amazing professional wrestlers in this match. And I can't, seeing Okada in America on a major pay-per-view is awesome for me. I'm a huge Okada fan. And but at the end of the day, I don't think they're going to let anybody other than Jay White retain here.
I mean, unless New Japan has a history or an occasional history of hot-shotting titles one way and then back on another, okay then. White just won the title, so you got to go with Jay White. I'm not sure who he might pin. I mean, there is some tension with him and Adam Cole. I would think if there once the Bullet Club or not Bullet Club, the Elite versus the Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly faction, once that starts to happen, once Kenny gets back, I would think that Jay White and Adam Cole will be on the same page. I don't know that White would necessarily pin Cole for it, but I don't know if they would pin Okada or Page either. So regardless of who he's going to pin, I think Jay White's going to retain.
I also think Jay White's going to retain. The only other viable person I could see here winning the title is Okada getting it back. But I think, like you said, Parthum, not much hot shotting back and forth. I think Jay White retains. Probably most likely candidate to pin here is Adam Cole. I think just because we've seen a little tension there. I don't see Hangman catching another pin, and Okada's just too good. I think his spot in this is amazing. He's going to get a huge pop in the United Center, just like he did on Wednesday. That was so cool. It's great. It's great to see all these guys in the same ring in general, but I think Jay White retains.
I think it's Jay White just because they've built so long for that win back over Okada and to have him, as a champion and everything. So I do think he retains, but man, we're looking at all these cards. There's a lot of retains. There's a lot of stuff. Like, like we've talked about this, I'm sure you're going to get into it. It's an interesting spot that they could do something fancy, whatever, get out of it. I do think the money match out of this is, and why Jay White really is going to retain, is eventual Hangman Okada singles match that Hangman asked for even before he said that he wanted the title. He said, I want Okada. And so maybe we can get a build out of it towards that. They did do when Ospreay won the U.S. title, it was a 4-way a couple months ago. And that's kind of how they spun out Moxley and Tanahashi. Not that Moxley and Tanahashi was supposed to be the match, but spun out their feud longer, as they were basically like beefing with each other the whole match and didn't pay attention to Ospreay or Juice in that match or anything. So I'm kind of expecting like a similar thing where it may be that Hangman and Okada will start going after each other a little bit. And then, Adam Cole's feelings were hurt, man. He's not going to be happy with Jay White in this match. I don't think so. So
I'm going Hangman is going to win, and this is going to tie into the next match for what's going on. I think they're going to swap the titles for the summer. And I think it's all come back and all out, because the G1's coming up for the summer. You don't need the world title for the G1 at all. They don't defend any titles during that 2 months of the summer for New Japan. So why not have your IWGP title here? It's going to get a lot of exposure on AEW television every single week. I think it'll be good for them. And then if Punk's ready for All Out, you have Tanahashi versus Punk, which they wanted to do anyways, for the real world title at All Out. I think that's what we're going to get to over the course of the summer. I think it's going to work out that way. With hot shotting titles, never the world title, really. That's true. So that's something to look at. Like the never open weight, yeah. US a little bit.
I don't remember the last time they ever put the champion after their first defense, though, in a like you Ernie said earlier. You don't see these multi-man matches and title matches in New Japan.
No,
ever.
I remember one time it was a triple threat and it was not good. It was like Taichi and 2 people. I think this match is built though that Jay White wouldn't have to take the pin, and he's not going to look out bad coming from it. So I'm going to go with Hangman. He's going to pick up the win. And the same thing, like even if Okada takes the pin, and that could set up Hangman Okada. Okada doesn't look bad taking a pin ever. He is the number 1 wrestler in the world. It's him and Kenny Omega are like tied for 1. So I don't think if he takes a pin it looks bad. But I'm going to go with Hangman for the title.
You know what? As far as the finish goes, I could see Page hitting Cole with the buckshot lariat, but then Jay White tosses him out of the ring and takes the pin.
Mm-hmm.
So Cole loses to a move that he's already lost to in the past, but Jay White retains. And not too much. Hey, Adam, you can't get too mad at me. I just took the pin. I didn't hit you with what is it? The Blade Runner or anything.
Blade Runner, yeah. Sister Abigail.
Yeah.
Yes. I got. Well, first off, by the way, the one I did minimal research for this because I just wanted to look into it. The IWGP World Heavyweight title, I was looking to because I always hear about it with Lesnar or whatever. But he had won the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. He had never won this because this title only came 2 years ago when they combined.
Yeah, this is new.
They combined the Intercontinental Championship. Trivia on Wrestling with Emotion show right now. 11 years ago, who was the first IWGP champion?
I would guess Inoki.
Kurt Angle?
11 years ago, he said.
The only
11.
here's the here's a hint. It was one in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Wow. 11 years ago, so that's like 20.
Oh, 2011.
Is it?
May 15th, 2011.
For which title is this? Which one?
This is for the IWGP Intercontinental.
Oh,
Championship.
MVP.
Oh.
Montel, Von
Wow.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Porter.
MVP.
What a big snipe there once he got it by credit where it's due.
Wow.
But yeah, so it just strikes me how much cooler that is than something like WWE just being like, we have the Universal Championship now.
Yeah.
Like this actually is like cool, has history, yada yada, of whatsoever. I'm gonna go with Jay White to retain. Because it just does make more sense to me, and these promotions seem to do it make sense. But I expect the banger of a match. Maybe you get Adam Cole hitting Page with the the boom or whatever, and Jay White sneaks the pin, something like that, to get it done.
I agree with Parthum, except I think it's going to be a Rainmaker is going to be the finish with the push out instead of the Adam Page move. That's all. But it's going to be a finish similar to that, in my opinion.
All right, we're all feeling confident. We're predicting finishes or not just the results. Let's go. And speaking of results, we are at our main event time. We have got Jon Moxley, Wild Thing, versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. Well, speaking of Hiroshi Tanahashi, in my research for this, when I was looking through the IWGP Heavyweight Championship reigns, I mean, my goodness, his name is just...
He's John Cena.
Yes,
basically.
he's Cena of New Japan Pro Wrestling, basically. It was my Tanahashi lesson in all of this. So we have Moxley versus Tanahashi. So I'm going to ask you this. Does anyone want to start this off with their prediction?
I'll go. By the way, I think Tanahashi holds the record for most reigns, doesn't he?
I think there was a point where it was just like every other name was Tanahashi on the list.
It was when him and Okada were feuding back and forth for a while.
For the original belt, the Heavyweight Championship, Tanahashi has 8 reigns. I think the next guys are Okada and Power Warrior Nami with 6 or 5.
Yeah.
Tanahashi's ahead of all of them with 8.
Another trivia question, and I'm going with Moxley. Who was the first IWGP Heavyweight Champion back in the 80s?
See, that's what I said. That was what I was thinking was Inoki, but I don't know if it'll. There is Hulk Hogan is an early.
It wasn't Hogan. Wasn't the first one. I don't think.
Well, I looked up. Hogan had some belt in the IWGP in the 80s.
He had the
heavyweight, but it literally was done in the 80s. It never left.
No,
it wasn't Inoki.
No, it wasn't Inoki. I'm thinking of All Japan, but Hogan was the first title holder in one of those things. Anyway,
because I looked it up. I was searching IWGP reigns, and there was one belt where Hogan had it first. I forget what it was, but it never ran out of there.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I'll stop talking. I'm going with Moxley.
By the way, speaking of Tanahashi being Cena, I'm looking at these Okada Tanahashis in the 2010s. They were basically Orton Cena of that era for New Japan.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
I think that between the G1 and their title matches, they've had 16 singles matches against each other. For most of them for a title.
For a G1 semifinal or something.
Here we are complaining about Reigns versus Lesnar 9 or whatever it is up to now, but at least Tanahashi and Okada could probably have better matches, right?
Yeah.
So could Cena and Orton, though.
True. I mean, Cena and Orton could elevate their game even when I remember, was it the 2014 Royal Rumble where people were just heckling the hell out of them, and then they started doing crazy stuff like doing each other's finishers on each other, and they got the crowd back into it at least by the end.
Yeah, as far as this RKO, and that was the worst RKO I've ever seen in my life.
And of course, Orton and everybody else does the STFU better than Cena does. But I do like the idea of them swapping titles and the intrigue that would bring, and the fact that we would eventually get Punk versus Tanahashi the way we're supposed to, and do that all out. Also in Chicago, we're getting Chicago overload, I guess. But I'm going to go with the safe picks. I'm going Jay White, and I'm going Moxley here.
Yeah, I don't see a scenario that Moxley loses this match. I think the unification between Moxley and CM Punk would be an absolute wild match. And although I do like to think, I do agree, Parthum, I think a title switch of promotions would be absolutely awesome. and Tanahashi holding that title so Moxley could go into Blood and Guts with that BCC versus JAS match. But Moxley's going to take it. I don't see a situation where he loses. Like we've been saying, Tanahashi, a championship holder in New Japan basically all the time. I don't see him holding the AEW interim world title. I don't know. I don't think he needs to. I think he'll be back in AEW. I do think we get that CM Punk Tanahashi match, but I think ultimately for the unification, it'll be Moxley CM Punk, which, I mean, you can't go wrong with that match.
So there was Moxley's been selling this like story so great, and someone, I can't remember what podcast I was listening, like someone talking about it, that he's basically like the Clint Eastwood of wrestling, where he just sits there and gives you a promo, he just stares into the camera and just like makes you like just want to go like fight with him in this whatever he's about to do. And so the Tanahashi thing, he's been chasing them for 3 years, they've never been able to fight, whatever. And I sent you guys in our group chat the other day with Tanahashi, which I'm sure we'll see in the little cut up before the match, where it said, I haven't been ducking him for 3 years, it took this long for Mox to get up to my level. So Mox has really been selling this as like, this is the biggest match of his life, everything like that. So I feel like we just get the crowning moment. It's been a crazy, 8 months for Jon Moxley, just in his life and everything else. That crowd is going to be, I think, when Wild Thing hits tonight, that crowd is going to be as loud as it will be. And if you want to talk about ratings, whatever else, blah, 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 having Blood and Guts, their biggest match, basically they do every year, and having the new AEW champion, they can start selling it like that. New AEW champion Jon Moxley in Blood and Guts on Wednesday just has a nice ring to it. So
you also talk about a pop with Moxley with Wild Thing. Imagine Moxley celebrating with this belt, and then you get Cult of Personality just rocks the joint, and you get a face-off for the ages in that ring. That's such a historic event. I think that's the way to end the show.
That's the lock of the night.
That's the way to end the show.
Go ahead.
I'm going Tanahashi. It's the other side of the Fatal 4-Way. I think they're just gonna swap titles for the summer. I think it works out well. They don't need the IWGP Heavyweight title during summer because it's a G1. No titles get defended, and you get that big payoff of Punk and Tanahashi that they wanted to do here at All Out. If Punk's back, hopefully he's back for that, and you get that match. And I wish it wasn't in Chicago. It's cool that they keep on running back All Out in Chicago, but do somewhere else. Every pay-per-view seems like it's here. I want him to go somewhere else at some point, but I'm going Tanahashi. I think also that makes that title, it's interim, but it elevates it so much. We were just talking about he's an 8-time world champion in New Japan, and how much elevation does that interim title take, because he wanted it and he won it. So
that also opens the door for a lot more crossover between New Japan and AEW. Just doesn't have to be pay-per-views as well. So.
And Tanahashi is not, because he's in another company, he hasn't been chasing the AEW World title, so winning the interim title doesn't really take any shine off of him in particular. Mm-hmm. It's not like, it's a consolation prize for him until winning the real belt. And if they want to do long-term booking, they can do Punk Moxley once Punk gets back and buys the title with Tanahashi if they go that route. They can't, it's hard to do it the other way, where if Moxley wins and they do the Punk match, and then they bring in Tanahashi. Maybe they want to do have all their eggs in one basket, but I'm still going to just pick safe with Moxley.
My logic and my brain are going to pick Moxley, so I'm going to pick Moxley. But my heart wants Alex Micah's picks. I mean, he's got Roppongi Vice winning the titles. He's got Hangman winning the IWGP, and he's got Tanahashi winning the AEW. I mean, that would be just absolute chaos.
If they really wanted to go for it, if they really wanted the show to be
this is the opportunity to go for it right now. And plus, with Punk hurt, you can kind of take a little pressure off the AEW roster for those top contenders as they battle it out. Also, Punk telling Moxley he lost the title to another promotion or something, obviously would be a great way to start that feud. So very interesting there. Go ahead.
Wouldn't the irony be in Hangman saying he's trying to defend the title from how do you put it, when he was face to face with Punk?
He's not save the title from Punk because he was gonna ruin it or whatever.
Or whatever he thought. Whatever his impression of Punk was. Now Punk's going to have to be the savior in that scenario to bring the title back to AEW.
Wrestling is poetry, folks. Make sure you're following along. Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple. Any final thoughts, gents, before we sign off here for Forbidden Door tonight? Was it 8 p.m.?
So 7 for us. But,
7 p.m. Live on pay-per-view.
We were at All In. We were at the first All Out. I honestly, this feels bigger than both of those. It's crazy that we get to see this, that we get to see it happen at all. So I'm extremely excited. That's how I'll leave it.
That's the thing about this show in general is like I was never going to be mad at however it turned out, because when AEW when the press conference happened 3 years ago and they're doing whatever little thing and Jericho comes out and everything, I think immediately we were like, all right, but what if they get the New Japan guys in here too? Like I always thought it was going to be a vehicle for something like this. And yeah, it just feels like the start of it too. That's the most exciting part.
Yeah, it feels like the end of like a 3-year build, but then the start of hopefully the next 20 years at the same time.
History.
The first day of the rest of our wrestling lives. We'll stay tuned in. Because here, folks, it's not wrestling with your thoughts. It's not wrestling with your conscience. It's not wrestling with your budgets. It's wrestling